Hello and welcome to my latest video. This one is going to be a review of my writing year, and I will explain how the goal, project and task system that you can see just here has helped me so much. 2019 has pretty much been a year of two halves. I started the year doing sponsored Instagram posts. I was blogging 3 times a week. I was uploading to YouTube twice a week. And one of those videos was a kind of vlog, day in the life or week in the life of a writer and creative. And a lot of these vlogs focused on my chickens, my ducks, the outdoors, the baking, what I was reading, and the writing was kind of an afterthought. And I was completely focusing on short-term goals, short-term projects, rather than long-term goals that will probably bring me more money in the long run. And I look back at my notebooks from the first half of that year, and I can see that in all the priorities I've got within these green boxes, I've got my essay, videos, book club, Facebook, Skillshare, blog posts. There's nothing there for my novel. There's no giant project there that I'm working towards on a daily basis. And then I look at my March 2019 and look at my priorities here. Newsletter, book club, March pick, videos, blog posts, sponsored work, other projects such as Skillshare. And look at the grid, blog, Patreon, vlog. Where is the writing, Helen? Where is the writing? And then during April and May, there was a big realisation. Firstly, I uploaded a baking video and it did not do very well. And there was a kind of muted light bulb going off at the back of my mind. And then I went down to London as an influencer to promote a book. So to spend the day in London, to travel to lots of different places, to take lots of photographs, put them up on my Instagram stories, all to promote another writer's book. And that's when a really big light bulb went off in my head. I wrote a blog post on May the 22nd, 2019 called A Writing Life Update, and it was very much related to an essay that I'd also written and released to my patrons on Patreon, where I said I had run out of oomph. Not because I was burnt out, I was questioning the road I was taking. How can it be that I'm not now fulfilled? So we get to June and that's when everything changes. At this point I've been going on YouTube. The algorithm was working in my favour and promoted a writer called Sarah Cannon of Heart Breathings. I started to watch all of her videos and she was talking about a very simple system, but such an amazing system to basically get your work done. It has changed everything. What I've done is adapted what Sarah does for my own way of working. This is basically what I've come up with. Sarah calls it a Kanban board. I call it my post-it board because it's full of post-its. So how has it changed everything? What have I achieved during the second half of 2019? Well, firstly, I gave myself 2 goals. I'm now getting more specific. I'm now getting more long-term and be a little bit more strategic and focusing. Focus, that is my word for 2019. And people talk about words at the beginning of the year, and I think focus is definitely going to continue to be my... Anyway, so I did this. In this system, I gave myself goals, and the first goal was to be en route to publication, and then my second goal was to gain over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube through uploading consistently with quality content. This second goal, I'm going to go to that first because I achieved it. A couple of months ago, I think it was now, I got 1,000 subscribers. It was such a brilliant feeling. My YouTube became more focused. I started talking about writing, notebooks. I stopped doing the baking. And I think this is what helped grow my channel, that people knew what my channel was all about. And the focus came from looking at my writing life as a whole. And this then impacted my social media, and it also impacted my other goal, which was to be en route to publication with my novel. I'm still not quite there and not ready for publication, but for the past 6 months, I have been working on restructuring my novel. I have done a big playlist of videos all about this, which I will link to below. I did a big outline of it. I started looking at the characters. I did post-its. I did a chapter analysis. I did so many different things, and I've got all that done. And now in January, I will be ready to tackle the second and hopefully final draft, so that it's then ready to start sending out to agents. So I can really see big progress, and this is just my goals from June. I then did some new goals for the final quarter of the year. This is my goals for the final quarter of 2019. And one thing I will say is that this whole setting goals and projects and tasks is definitely a learning process, because you start to be more in tune with how fast you can work. And so for setting my goals for this final quarter, I was so much more realistic in terms of what I could achieve. So with my writing, I stated that I wanted to have made significant progress. With YouTube, I wanted to be signed up for the YouTube partnership program, which is where you're monetized, and I wanted to grow my presence as a writer on social media. Basically, I wanted to stop the decline on Instagram, and I wanted to not just say I was a writer on Instagram, but I wanted to show I was a writer. I wanted to rebrand myself, basically. So let's start with the writing. I have done so much work on my novel and have got to a stage where I can start the rewrite in January. I'm really pleased with. But the other thing with the writing is that in the last few weeks I took a course all about how to get my non-fiction idea into the shape of a proposal in order to send out to either literary agents or publishers. If you've been following me on Instagram, this is the secret project that I've been referring to. I have also made really significant progress on that, and even though the proposal isn't ready right now, it will be ready by the end of January. I call that significant progress. Now, number 2 was to have been signed up on YouTube's partnership program. This hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen before the end of the year. It's definitely something to keep aiming for in the new year. But then my third goal was to grow my presence as a writer on social media, i.e. Instagram, and to rebrand myself as a writer and to stop the decline in my Instagram followers. And hooray, I did that. You can see that video all about how I did that. I will link that video in the description box below. I rebranded my photographs on Instagram. I've started to attract a new audience. The amount of people who are following me is dramatically higher, which is such good news. So how has this board helped me? Well, I've got two giant pieces of A3 paper and I have divided them up into columns according to my projects, which go under the goals that I have just mentioned. So here I've got my fiction, my novel, which is Burnt Chocolate, and my non-fiction, which goes under the goal of making significant progress on my writing. So they're there. I've got my rebranding myself as a writer, and that is this column. I've got my YouTube videos in this column, which goes under the goal of being monetized on YouTube. This is to do on this sheet, and this is done over here. So these post-its all relate to individual tasks. So dividing these projects up into individual tasks, and then they all sit here at the beginning of the quarter. And then when they are in progress, when I'm working on them during that week, I will put them on one of these cards down here, which relates to the different columns. And then once they have been done, I move them over onto the done sheet. So not only is it a really good way of dividing your projects up into little tasks so the whole project doesn't feel really daunting, but also it's incredibly motivational because you can see exactly what you are achieving on a weekly basis. You can see that you are literally moving the post-it towards your goal. And that's how it's helped me this year. Just a very simple system. It really has made a significant difference to how I have achieved so much. It's just been a really productive system for me, and I wish I'd started it at the beginning of the year because I feel I would have achieved so much more over the course of the year, but I wouldn't have had so many lessons learned or tales to tell, which will no doubt find themselves into an essay of mine in the near future. So it's all content, isn't it? The goal, the project and the task system definitely works for me. In summary, the first half of 2019 was busy, but in a very scattergun way that didn't get me anywhere near close to achieving my goals. Then I had a moment of despondency of what was I doing. Then I had these light bulb moments. And then the second half of the year, I really started to change the system of how I approach my projects. And even after taking a month off from moving house, I didn't lose any momentum because I knew exactly what I needed to do to pick up where I'd left off. I think that's one of the other great things about this system is that you always know every day when you come into your office what you need to do. So Nicola, thank you very much for asking me that question on Instagram. I hope that answers your question. It has been a revelation for me this year. I'm really excited for next year, really excited. And the reason for this is because I can see so much more clearly because I've broken everything down into very simple tasks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye for now. Bye.